So, one thing we wanted to bring you on for, Mike, is because we have some similarities in some shows we've watched that a lot of people have also watched and debate about a lot. So, Sword Art Online and Attack on Titan. So, these are probably some of the more recognizable shows of anime, like in just mainstream pop culture. Like people know it. Yeah. Attack on Titan is everywhere in Japan. Like when my sister was staying abroad there, she said like every gas station had like a figurine or some like keychain or something easy to find.
I wish we had that.
Yeah, and a lot of people kind of hark on it for being a bad show. I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit because I think that's wrong. We've talked about it a little bit before, and now let's jump into it. So, how much of Attack on Titan have you seen? Like all of it?
I've seen all of it, yeah.
Watched all of it? I've seen all of it as well, and I'm also reading the manga, which I actually really enjoy.
That's further down the line, right? It's way past
Yeah, it's like way past what we have now.
Yeah.
So, I was watching Attack on Titan. I watched the first season, or the first arc, I guess, first half of it. So fast. Like I watched the first time I found Attack on Titan, I watched the first 8 episodes in one sitting. Yeah. Because it was so good. Like,
I was super hyped about that show.
Yeah, and so I think the big problem is the hype of the show, and it trickles off very fast.
Yeah.
So I was saying like the first arc, first half, is fantastic.
It's really strong.
For sure.
Yeah, like you build up Eren as a character, you understand his pains, and then it just starts to fall off super fast.
Yeah. The poop hits the fan.
Yes.
As they say.
I mean, so I was watching the second arc as it was live streamed, or simulcast.
Okay, yeah.
So I had a little bit more, like a better pace for it, so I wasn't so drained down by it.
I did the same thing, actually.
Right,
I caught up, and then I started watching it as it aired around that time, too.
Right. So, like, it was like a weekly thing for me and one of my best friends in college. We'd go out and get barbecue and sit around TV, and we're like, oh, it's up. All right, it's up. So then we just, like, watch, and it's like a ritual for us.
Yeah.
And we got to theorize about, like, all the mysteries and clues and stuff that they've dropped in from Attack on Titan, because obviously this world is really unknown. Like, where are the Titans? Why are there Titans? Why are they walled in? Nobody knows their history. But going back and watching, like, the second arc, so the first arc is like 12 episodes, and the second arc, it just feels bad.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that, yeah.
So the biggest problem I have is that people say this is a bad show, and I completely disagree. Like, I think it is a good show with very big problems that don't make it overall bad.
Right.
Like, there is a reason it is popular, or as popular as it is, and it's because, like, it's such an interesting world, right? Like, humanity has been caged in for 100 years in these walls and like these different layers, and there's a social hierarchy.
Yeah, the class system.
Interesting, yeah. And then this military group that's just trying to venture out and figure out what's going on outside, and these Titans that will eat them on sight. It's like, why? Like, they look like humanoid, and there's all these mysteries that pop up as they explore more, and it's just so intriguing.
Yeah, it's almost like the second half, like, because the world is super intriguing. You think about all that world building, and then it just kind of drops off. Yeah. And you're left feeling... I was left feeling like, but what about everything? Like, you built up all this stuff, and then it's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, you kind of... You're, like, in the city, and then the second half, you're following a small group of people for a majority of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the second half is when Eren and friends go out and kind of try to explore more about what's happening in the world, and like some bigger events take place. But the problem with that part is that there's a lot of exposition, and in a show that's kind of big on action, and even like the soundtrack and everything's like very big and powerful and moving.
Totally.
And you just have so much talking. Like, stop. And Eren becomes such a big baby. Like, he is probably one of the worst protagonists I've seen. Like, I just hate him. It's like, please just die.
Yeah.
Go die. Let Mikasa be the star of the show. Like, there are some really great characters in here. Like, Sasha's fantastic.
Yeah,
Mikasa
I love
is fantastic.
Sasha. Potato girl.
Yeah. Like, this girl, like, Sasha's like a woman who's just like obsessed with eating. Like, and that kind of speaks to like how starvation works in their cities, and like how she's brought up. Like, food is such a big object, and it's so important to her, and that now she's in the military, she's getting better food, but she gets like super greedy with it, and like she doesn't know how to handle that.
Yeah. And like during the training, she's just eating a raw potato.
Yeah.
Which is like the best scene.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many like memorable and cool things when you see Eren, and he's just like, God, you're such a drag.
Just tired of him.
I feel like a lot of things do that, where like I I don't know if I just like female characters a lot. I just love female characters. Like someone's like, "What's your favorite female character?" I'm like, "Yes." So like it irritates me because there's so many cool ones. Like Mikasa's so cool. It really bothers me that someone so lame is the actual protagonist and she's not.
Yeah.
Like I felt that way. This is not anime, but with Pacific Rim, I was like, why isn't like Mako the protagonist of this movie? Like that bothers me when that happens, and I feel like that happened with this show. Like she's so cool. Why isn't she doing everything? She's the best at everything.
She is actually one of the best, but she's still foolish. Like she still has her problems. Like she's too eager sometimes, and she kind of lets her emotions get ahead of herself from time to time.
Yeah, like a real human person with flaws.
Like
yes,
I love it.
So, in relation to the manga, that absolutely still comes across. Like she's very cool, very quiet, is super defensive of Eren. Like they're brother and sister.
Yep.
Also, Mikasa, that is how you pronounce her name in the Japanese version. In English, I think the dub, it's like Mikusa. And so every time I say Mikasa, they're like, it's not Mikasa, it's Mikusa. It's like, there's no U in her name. I'm sorry. I'm not going to
They probably do that because people will be like, Mikasa, Sukasa, ha 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 ha.
Oh,
no, who knows?
That's probably why. I feel like that's probably because her name is My House.
Yeah, exactly. So like random note, like the dub and sub, like even like the games, like there's so many like weird terminology differences that I don't understand how that happened. Like the Survey Corps is called something else, and the omnidirectional gear is like 3D maneuver gear in the sub, and then the dub it's like the omnidirectional maneuver gear. Anyway, little weird things that bother me.
Yeah. No, I don't do dub for like anime games. It's just weird.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's the worst.
But getting back on track, like continuing with the manga, I'm super excited to see what they do with the second season because it definitely picks up from where I think the second arc kind of started failing. It gets a lot more exciting. I think there's a lot of more interesting reveals, and there's also a lot of new mysteries too. So there's a lot to sustain. I think last year recently, creator of Attack on Titan also said that the manga still has like 3 years left.
I heard that.
Yeah,
I saw that on Twitter like today. I feel like people keep saying
weird
that news.
But that was also said last year.
Yeah.
So it's like there's still 3 years, and I guess it's 3 years forever.
Someone
always
keeps
3
resharing
years.
the same tweet.
Yeah. So I mean, if you liked Attack on Titan, I think you should absolutely try to check out the manga. Like it moves a little bit better, even though there is still some of the exposition, some problems with Eren. Like he's still a problem.
Okay.
The reason I haven't checked out the manga is actually I hate the Titan art. Like it's so grotesque to me that I just can't do it. I really don't like it.
It's scary.
But I do. I mean, like I normally like that stuff, but it's just grotesque. But I might give it another shot because I did like the show in general. I thought it was disappointing. We talked about that on a different episode, but yeah. I mean, like, I think the world building is what makes it worth it to me. I really like the whole concept of trying to unravel that mystery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely has really interesting characters, so I think it's worth reading. And I'm reading it on Crunchyroll for a while. I think when they first started, or they first linked their subscription service to their manga service, they had all of the volumes on there, like everything.
Oh, wow.
But now they only have a limited number, limited number of chapters. But they do simulcast the manga. So every month when it comes out in Japan, it comes out here. So it's pretty cool. So that's where I keep up with it. But of course they have like big volumes of the manga if you ever want to catch up on those. I just know it's available. So I mean, if you're interested, if you liked it, if you had fun with it, don't let people get you down for that. Like if people say, "Oh, that's a baby show," it's like, no, enjoy it.
I do see so many people calling it like it's always included in those like anime starter pack memes where it's like, here's your anime starter pack: Naruto, One Piece, Attack on Titan, and whatever else. Right. Well, it's like it's kind of insulting when like it's very condescending. That's what I don't like about those memes. Like some of them are funny because I'm like, oh yeah, that was my starter pack. But like, the people calling it a baby show, it's like that's pretty condescending. That's not necessary.
So, it's popular for a reason. Let us know what you guys liked about Attack on Titan. I obviously enjoy it. Like it's not the best, but it's still fun. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. Eventually, we'll have to talk about the movie.
Oh, for sure.